Hey guys, Pair bringing you another Frost Death Knight Dragonflight video. We have a tier set redesign. Very good. Previous tier set I wasn't very happy with. I felt like there were lots of negative aspects with it that were unnecessary and not very fun to deal with, essentially. The new one, it's much more powerful, much better to use, and doesn't have any of the negatives of the previous version. So overall, very happy. Let's just take a look, discuss how strong is it, how do we play with it, what's the impact, and so on. So, two sets, we have Howling Blast damage increased by 20%, Consuming Rime increases the damage of your next Frostfiend's Fury by 5%, stacking 10 times. Pillar of Frost calls a Frostfiend's Fury at 4% effectiveness that cannot freeze enemies. Right, so let's break this down. So still very much focused on the Frostfiend's Fury, but much better than the previous alternative that would just send it off on every 15 Rime proc you consumed. I can see they removed the Frost Fever buff and just put everything on Howling Blast. I think that's good. Frost Fever isn't a very fun ability. It's nicer to have a Howling Blast hitting a bit harder. We have this interesting aspect. So we consume Rimes, it stacks up to 10 times, and then it boosts your next Frostfiend's Fury. Since Fury is between 3 and 1.5 minute cooldown, it depends on what talents you pick up, right? How we exactly use this is going to change. You know, more often than not, this is only going to buff the Fury we use with our pillar, right? We're going to have the couple Howling Blasts that we consume right in between each pillar, and then that's going to buff the kind of Frost Doom that comes with pillar. By the way, I think that's interesting. So it's kind of like buffing Frostwelf's Indignation, right? Or Frostwelf's Aid, is it what it's called? I'm looking forward to see how this actually looks like when you have two, like the little dragon and the big dragon coming through. But effectively, this is just a much better version of Frostwelf. Anyway, obviously, sometimes we have our big Frostworms. This is going to make it so that we use our Frostworm before pillar instead of at the end of pillar, right? If we use it at the end of pillar, the actual pillar dragon is going to consume the stacks, which means that our big dragon won't do like the amount of extra damage. We obviously want to use that extra on the big dragon because it's at full effectiveness compared to 4%. So what will happen is that we use Frostworms before pillar, and then, you know, to consume the stacks. I'm not 100% sure how to feel about that. One good thing about it is that pushing Frostworm outside of pillar means that within pillar you don't need to care about kind of pushing out any obliterate cleaves, which feels good. I do feel like using obliterate at the end of a pillar window can feel bad because you kind of sacrifice an oblit cleave, which isn't great. Now the full set, also the redesign, Frostfiend's Fury causes enemies hit to take 25% increased damage from your critical strikes for 12 seconds. Now this is juicy, right? This is pretty insane. So I think the primary aspect of this is that every time you use pillar, that Frostfiend's Fury is going to increase the damage the enemies takes during that pillar window. And this is just really, really good synergy with obliteration. The absolute majority of damage from obliteration becomes from your pillar windows with your obliterate crits. So this is essentially going to buff that by 25%. And we see that when you look at the power of the spec. Like the 4 set is insane for two-hander oblit. If you just look at the numbers, Tasnake has been working very hard to put us into simulations and getting some numbers for us. So the 2 Ps is 3% upgrade. The 4C, 2 Ps plus 4 Ps, is almost 13%. Right? So you can see that synergy. It's almost 10% damage increase from the 4 set. Really, really good. This is much more in line to what we previously had with the previous 4 set, 2 set kind of combination. So we will be replacing our tier set. You might have watched my previous video where I talked about, you know, the new tier set is not strong enough to actually replace the old one with. It is now strong enough, right? It does benefit breath as well. So if oblit 2 and oblit gets around 13%, breath gets 10.5%, right? So they are close. but you can definitely see that, you know, the full piece is 10% DPS upgrades for 200 blit, 7% for breath. So breath still benefits from it. We do get a lot of natural killing machine procs, and obviously a lot of our damage is concentrated in our pillar windows, but there is still a difference there. Playing with us, I think it's going to be fun. Like, it's going to concentrate even more of our damage in our pillar windows. Some people like that, some people dislike it. I personally like it. I like bigger blitz. It's also going to specifically buff our blitz damage, so I'm looking forward to getting some huge obliterate crits next patch. I think we might go up to 500k ish. Currently, you can get up to 360k with all kind of, you know, thundering and all that kind of thing. So we do lose thundering, so we'll see. They're going to be big at least, so very excited about it. Also, there's no degenerate gameplay here. You won't be ninja pulling anymore, because the frost one we get from our pillar is the same as the whelp. So if you ninja pull with a whelp, you're going to ninja pull with a new one. There's no difference. Very happy. I'm glad they reworked it. I don't have, you know, I'm kind of happy as is. I don't see any major negatives for the spec. I'm very happy if this just goes live. Exciting. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think about the set? Do you want them to change anything with it? Any updates? Anything you dislike? Anything you like? That kind of thing. Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.